Hello, I am McKinley Price, Mayor of the City of Newport News. This is my first State of the City address, and I thank you for the opportunity to share with you the great things that are happening in our city, and to report on the progress that we have made together over the past year. It seems like just yesterday that we held our first organizational meeting as a new City Council, and I was the new kid on the block. The journey here has been unbelievable. Last July, City Council came together as 7 individuals with different backgrounds and experiences, and oftentimes with different perspectives, but with a common thread, the desire to make this city a great place for our children and our children's children. It is a desire for schools that educate our young people to the highest standards and set them on a path to reach their fullest potential. A desire for a strong economic base that provides jobs so that our citizens can support their families, and a desire for cultural and recreational amenities that can provide experiences that nurture our souls. There is a Japanese proverb that says, "None of us is as smart as all of us." I believe it is this leadership philosophy that has helped us to come together with the goal of moving this city forward. The accomplishments and actions of the past year provide us with a solid foundation and show us that, as our motto indicates, Newport News is truly a place where great things are happening. As elected officials, you have vested in us the responsibility to guide this city to do the people's business. We take this responsibility seriously and thank you for the confidence that you have in us. Rick Baker, in his book, The Seamless City, tells us that successful city building is not the product of a magic formula or a faddish quick-fix solution. It comes from deliberate and focused hard work, applying the fundamentals of a good plan, solid practices, and passionate leadership. He goes on to say that the effort must be aimed at improving every part of the city, leaving no one behind. This has been the mission of our City Council over the past year. We understand that each part of Newport News, the North, the Central, and the South, makes up the fabric of our community, and in order for our city to continue to progress, each part must thrive. Last fall, working closely with the city manager, City Council engaged in a strategic planning process in which we identified 8 strategic priorities that will provide us with a clear sense of direction and improve every part of the city, leaving no one behind. We call these priorities the Strategic 8, and they include Southeast redevelopment, strengthening Greater Oyster Point, focusing on the Upper Ward Corridor, gang and gun violence reduction, organizational performance and efficiency, community maintenance, environmentally sustainable local government policies, and customer service. Let me take a few minutes to discuss these priorities. This council understands the importance of preserving and strengthening our existing neighborhoods. As such, we are moving forward with the redevelopment efforts in the Southeast community with a vision for a beautiful and vibrant community that not only serves the needs of the residents and businesses in that community, but attracts others into the area as well. With our limited resources, it is important to focus the city's investments in concentrated areas that achieve observable results in a reasonable period of time. Over the next 2 to 3 years, we will be focusing on the Lower Jefferson Avenue corridor south of 36th Street. We appreciate the confidence that longtime business and community partners have in the vision for this community, as demonstrated in their decision to remain in the area. Hornsby Tire Company, a family-owned business that has been in the community for over 75 years, has committed to staying in the Southeast community and relocated to the new facility across the street on 34th and Jefferson Avenue. Bay Electric is another mainstay that continues to grow and thrive in this area. And let us not forget First Baptist East End, which has been in the Southeast community for 115 years. Its new edifice serves as the cornerstone of the community and is the impetus for redevelopment that is taking place in this area. And in August, we are planning to unveil the Richard Hunt sculpture that will be erected just across the street from First Baptist. The city is making infrastructure investments such as undergrounding the utilities, land investments like the recent purchase of Peddler's Village, and public safety investments in order to attract meaningful private investment in this part of the city. Now, prior to the economic crisis, the NFL quarterback and Newport News native, Aaron Brooks, announced plans to pursue the development of the Southeast Commerce Center, to be located below 33rd Street and between Jefferson Avenue and Terminal Avenue as part of a mixed-use project. Mr. Brooks is keeping his commitment to this project and has partnered with developer Amada Hoffler, and we are looking forward to working with them to see this effort come to fruition. We continue to support Newport News Redevelopment and Housing Authority initiatives to include the demolition of Harbor Homes and Dickerson Courts, as well as the redevelopment of Madison Heights and Jefferson Park. Last September, we broke ground for the Martin Luther King Jr. Plaza at 25th Street in Jefferson, and we anticipate that the plaza will be dedicated in either the late fall or early winter. We believe that the improvements and investments that are being made in this area will be visible signs of progress and will serve as a catalyst for the emergence of other Southeast redevelopment opportunities. In the central part of the city, Greater Oyster Point has become an important economic engine in terms of employment and tax-based growth. This is a result of public and private investments combined with locational advantages. City Center continues to grow and develop and is a place where people can live, work, shop, and be entertained in a pedestrian-friendly urban setting. It is important that we continue the public policy that created this economic success, with emphasis on transportation and other infrastructure improvements in the Greater Oyster Point area. A major transportation improvement will be the extension of Middle Ground Boulevard. We are pleased that within the city's urging and the state has awarded a design-build contract for full construction of this project. Within 3.5 years, we will enjoy this major new connector roadway, improving traffic flow and strengthening Oyster Point's economic value. Another strategic priority is the Upper Warwick Boulevard area. As you know, the area north of Denby Boulevard has experienced gradual visual and economic decline over the years. We recognize that the Upper Warwick corridor, home to 1/5 of the city's population, has long been one of our community assets and is a vital part of the city's commercial and retail establishment. We have undertaken a new retail strategy effort with an initial focus on the Upper Warwick Boulevard corridor, which will help both our existing retailers and our efforts to attract desirable new retail development. Council recognizes that encouraging quality investments, both private and public, in this area is critical. Last spring, the city broke ground for a long-awaited Stony Run Community Center. Our focus for this area will be on finding ways to take advantage of the positive ongoing changes at Fort Eustis and the Stony Run Community Center to foster a revival along the Upper Warwick Boulevard corridor. In addition to visual improvements and commercial revitalization, we anticipate a voluntary property acquisition effort over the next several years to provide us with long-term strategic redevelopment options. Gang and gun violence reduction is another area we are focusing on and one that I am passionate about. Newport News has a long history of supporting and encouraging young people in our community. Last year, the city was recognized for the 4th consecutive time by the America's Promise Alliance as one of the 100 best places for young people. While this recognition is certainly an honor, there are still difficult and challenging times for some of our young people, and we are losing many of our young adults to violent crime. Our law enforcement personnel have been successful in breaking up the leadership of some of our prominent gangs in our city. And while we are pleased with these enforcement efforts, we must also develop a more comprehensive approach to addressing youth violence. We must ensure that our children have the education, community assets, and the tools they need to make good decisions and to become productive members of society. It was Frederick Douglass who said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Our strategy must be based on expertise and best practices. All of us, government, nonprofit, faith-based organizations, businesses, and educational institutions must commit ourselves to an ongoing effort to use our resources and expertise to create communities where young people do not just live, but they thrive. As such, with the support of my colleagues on City Council, I have created the Mayor's Committee on Teenage and Young Adult Violence Reduction. Over the past year, this group has been meeting and developing a citywide strategy that focuses on prevention, intervention, enforcement, and reentry. The committee has provided me with its preliminary recommendations, which I am currently reviewing, and I look forward to sharing the ideas and recommendations of the effort with all of our citizens in the coming months. During my campaign, I indicated that if I were elected mayor, I would take a close look at the city's operations and determine ways that we could become more efficient as an organization. These times demand an ongoing focus on improving efficiency and performance, and greater efforts to measure work in the context of established priorities. As such, earlier this year, I established a task force of business leaders, citizens, and local government officials, co-chaired by Councilwoman Pat Woodbury and the Newport News Shipbuilding President, Matt Mulheron, to compare Newport News operations with other similar local governments in terms of resources, personnel, and other benchmarks. Since January of this year, the committee has been developing recommendations to improve city operations. Some of the committee's earlier work was incorporated in our recently approved operating budget for 2012. We expect additional efficiency improvements to grow out of the work in the future, particularly in the areas of environmental sustainability and performance benchmarks. We have identified community maintenance as another strategic priority. Community maintenance is critical to making our city an attractive and vibrant place to live and work. Council is committed to an aggressive program that improves the visual appearance of our neighborhoods and thoroughfares and instills a sense of pride for those who live here, as well as provides an aesthetically pleasing, welcoming environment for our visitors. Now, I appreciate the support from City Manager's office and his team from various departments such as codes, adult corrections, public works, engineering, and the police department in leading our community maintenance efforts. During the past year, we have conducted several cleanup and beautification efforts throughout the city and partnered with numerous citizens, community, civic groups to improve our neighborhoods. It is encouraging to see the fruits of these partnerships throughout the city. Tree and flower plantings at various intersections, landscaping and sound walls, improved signage at our gateway corridors, improvements to our streams, freshly painted houses, refurbished playgrounds, and beautification of our school grounds. In addition, we have increased our property maintenance enforcements to include a new Saturday effort, and we have strengthened our rehabilitation tax incentives to allow more businesses and homeowners to receive a property tax break for reinvesting in their property. While we are working to improve the aesthetics of this city through community maintenance projects, we also want to ensure that we are an environmentally responsible organization. The city currently has many important proactive environmental initiatives, and we are continuously encouraging in efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, minimize environmental impacts, and encourage sustainable business and operational practices. City staff continues to make progress in specific green initiatives in areas such as recycling and energy efficiency. However, we can do more, and we can do more to address the growing issues of environmental sustainability. The Newport News Green Committee was established to organize a comprehensive approach that demonstrates the city's environmental stewardship efforts and to enhance, expand, and improve upon efforts that are already underway. Last but not least, we have identified customer service as another important strategic priority, and we take great pride in good customer service. Now, while there are many ways for our citizens to access city government services and information, there's always room for improvement. Council supports the city manager's efforts to leverage technology and training to upgrade the quality and consistency of our customer service throughout the organization. A major communications and customer service effort within the next 18 months will be the establishment of a 311 type system, which provides a centralized contact center for information and service requests. We believe that this system will provide you, our citizens, with greater access to city services and improve our ability to satisfy citizen concerns. It is our belief that these 8 strategic initiatives provide a roadmap for moving our city forward. And over the next few years, we look for your support and active engagement as we undertake these efforts. In order to move ahead with the strategic 8 priorities, we must have solid financial footing. And I am proud to report that the financial condition of City of Newport News continues to be sound and stable. Because of our strong and prudent financial management practices and policies, we continue to have a AA rating from both major credit agencies, which enables us to borrow money for long-term investments in our infrastructure and at a lower cost. This rating is the second highest that can be achieved and is quite an accomplishment given the current economic situation. At the end of January, your City Council adopted the 5-year capital improvements plan for fiscal years 2012 to 2016. This plan identifies for funding our most critical capital projects at approximately $30 million for each fiscal year and provides additional cash support from the general fund operating budget for smaller projects at $7 to $9 million a year. The fiscal year 2012 operating budget was my first budget as mayor, and I must say it was a challenging one. We are anticipating yet another year of decline in our 2 largest sources of revenue, real estate taxes and state funding. Despite these declining revenues, with the leadership of the city manager and his budget staff, we approved a budget that had few tax and fee increases and provided very little service delivery reductions. As I mentioned earlier, it is our desire for a strong economic base that provides jobs so that our citizens can support their families. In spite of the national economic climate, Newport News and Hampton Roads region fared well in comparison to many other localities. I believe this is due in large part to the diversity of our economic base. Despite the economic environment, we are fortunate to continue to attract new investment, reinvestment, development, and redevelopment. Major institutions continue to show confidence in our community. Now, we see significant projects underway at Christopher Newport University, at Jefferson Lab, and at Riverside Regional Medical Center. Existing businesses continue to invest and thrive in our community. In addition to the new 700,000 square foot building that has been completed, Canon, Virginia is activating its new automated cartridge manufacturing line, which has a capital investment of $77 million in equipment value. Icelandic USA, a frozen seafood manufacturer and distributor located in Oakland Industrial Park, is expanding its plant by 87,000 square feet with a projected capital investment of more than $8 million. The decision of Huntington Ingalls Industries to establish their new headquarters here in Newport News is a significant one, and one that bodes well for the future of this city. Their announcement to construct a new apprentice school building is an exciting and major corporate investment. The city's development department is working with Huntington Ingalls to ensure successful planning of a new downtown mixed-use development that would include the school, apartments, retail, and a parking garage. As other residential schools have been the catalyst for revitalizing corridors, this new school would impact not only the downtown area, but allow for the shipyard's continued success by educating new generations of highly qualified technicians. The Continental plant in Newport News just celebrated 40 years of continuous operations. Now, over this time, the plant has continued to be a technological leader in the field of automotive component manufacturing. As a matter of fact, the engineers, designers, and workers at the Newport News plant have personally been responsible for over 1,000 U.S. patents for design and design improvement. This is most impressive. As you know, when our local businesses consider expanding or new businesses look to relocate here in Newport News, they look for a well-trained and highly skilled workforce that can compete globally. If we are going to meet that demand, it is important that we as a city support our public school system. Our children are our future. They are our doctors, our lawyers, our city workers, our computer technicians, our teachers. As mayor, I am committed to working with Newport News Public Schools to ensure that our young people have every opportunity to reach their fullest potential. Under the exceptional leadership of Dr. Ashby Kilgore, who was named Regional Superintendent of the Year, Newport News has an excellent public school system. We had over 1,800 students graduate in June and are pursuing higher education and careers. All 39 Newport News schools are fully accredited by the Virginia Department of Education, and Heritage, Minchfield, Warwick, and Woodside high schools are ranked among the top 7% of all high schools in the nation by the Washington Post. Additionally, over 99% of Newport News public school teachers are designated as highly qualified, with 60 holding the prestigious designation of National Board Certification. Newport News Public Schools was one of only 3 school districts in the country to be recognized for its embrace of technology, including using Facebook to find and bring students back to school to earn a diploma or their GED. It is clear that our business and military community also supports Newport News Public Schools, from internships and other work-related learning experiences through their Career Pathways program to partnerships with Fort Eustis and Newport News Shipbuilding, among others. By offering a vast array of programs that range from gifted education to 11 magnet and specialty programs to a dropout recovery initiative, the school system intends to make it possible for all students to succeed in the 21st century. Great things are truly happening in the Newport News Public Schools. We know all too well that when making decisions to locate or expand, businesses also look at the quality of life activities available in the area. Therefore, it is important that as a city, we provide recreational and cultural experiences for our citizens. It touches my heart to see the faces of our children as they run and play during Children's Festival of Friends, or as they watch the magnificent fireworks display on the 4th of July, or the lighting of the tree during Holly Dazzle. These events draw thousands and are extremely important to the quality of life of our city. Downing Gross Cultural Arts Center continues to provide a venue for local and national artists, as well as offer high-quality cultural arts activities for the young and the young at heart. This facility, along with other city museums, Lee Hall Mansion, Enview Plantation, the Newsom House, and the Virginia War Museum provide our citizens as well as our tourists with excellent cultural opportunities. These museums, along with others such as the Mariners Museum and the USS Monitor Center, the Ferguson Center for the Arts, the Virginia Living Museum, the Peninsula Fine Arts Center, and the public art displayed throughout our city help to nurture our souls. All of the wonderful things going on in our city would be moot if we didn't feel safe in our homes and in our neighborhoods. Like any city, Newport News depends on our police and fire for public safety and peace. 25 years ago, our police department was one of the first in the nation to receive accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation and Law Enforcement Agencies, and continues with its excellence in law enforcement efforts with its 8th re-accreditation this year. Crime was reduced in Newport News for the 5th consecutive year and has dropped 23% since 2005. It is due in large part to you, our citizens, working with the police department, that we are able to accomplish this reduction in crime. I thank you for partnering with us to help make Newport News safer. We have improved our fire and EMS response times in the Central District with the opening last year of Fire Station number 11 at Newport News Williamsburg International Airport. Fire Station number 3 is well under construction in the Brentwood area of our city, which will enhance firefighting capacity to the South District. Additionally, funding has been authorized for 12 new firefighting medic positions to man this new station. We will also see the renovation of Fire Station number 9, located on Old Courthouse Way in the northern part of our city. As you can see, we have had many accomplishments to celebrate and be proud of over the past year. But as with any community of our size, we have challenges as well. We should be reminded that all we have accomplished, we did so in a turbulent economic climate. While it is important to understand that Newport News has been faring well in this economic downturn compared with other localities across the state and across the country, we should not minimize the impact the economic environment has had on this city and its governmental operations. If the 2009 recession had not occurred and the city experienced the same rate of growth in the past 4 years, our revenue base would be 10 to 15% higher than it is right now. Even so, the city continues to provide about the same level of services today as we did 4 years ago, with 18 million less in the general fund and a 6% smaller workforce. While we have been able to maintain these service levels, it has not been easy. Throughout all of this, we have barely been meeting our long-term obligations. We have been delaying basic infrastructure improvements, and we have been foregoing investments in future enhancements. Our challenge is that we cannot continue along this path. My colleagues on City Council and I, along with the city manager and his staff, are committed to finding creative ways to address this challenge. And we look to you, our citizens and stakeholders, to join us in this effort. I am extremely pleased with the many great things we have accomplished over the past year. I appreciate the leadership of our city manager, Neil Morgan, and the hard work and dedication of our city employees. I look forward to their continued support as we work to improve our city and make sure that, in the words of Rick Baker, no one is left behind. I am deeply honored to have the opportunity to serve as your mayor and will continue to work with my colleagues on City Council in the spirit of cooperation and collegiality as we address the needs of this community. There is an Ethiopian proverb that says, "When spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion." I truly believe that when we as a community join together, we can accomplish great things. I challenge you over the next year to continue to stay informed about what's happening in Newport News and to participate in the activities of your local government. I am amazed by the extraordinary spirit of volunteerism of the citizens of Newport News. There is never a day that goes by that I don't witness some kind of voluntary action, people reaching out, getting involved, helping others, and working for the betterment of Newport News. I encourage you to continue to volunteer your time and talents in your neighborhoods and in the community. I remain hopeful and optimistic about the future of our city, and I am confident that we will remain a vibrant and progressive community where great things continue to happen. Thank you for watching, and may what you say and do uplift the City of Newport News.